crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadroad.com. With your morning horn disease, your sip of chaga coffee. Silver caught a bid this morning and was able to breach the 50-day moving average, bump up against the 100-day moving average. It's so ridiculous. I know I keep harping on the technicals mean nothing in any market. In a rigged market, technicals are just used to destroy the traders. It is insane the amount of power that computers and derivatives have. I'll give you an example very soon, and the warning was sounded long time ago on derivatives. But bankers are greedy by nature. If you lay down a set of guidelines and rules around banking, they will find the niches and curves, and they call it creative finance, to get around those laws the best they can. Sometimes just bump into the law and keep going anyway. But yeah, our friends over at JP Morgan, the U.S. Treasury, the U.S. Fed, Bank of America, the CFTC, the SEC, they are all in on the con. This is a con. If you want to look for America's number one weakness, it's the financial markets, believe it or not. Everybody says, oh, it's the greatest markets in the world. It is 100% rigged, which means any country in their right mind can take down the United States right now. They don't need a military. All they have to do is buy the rest of the silver on the COMEX and walk away and watch the bankers eat their own people. Bank of America is done. One of the largest banks in the world, too big to fail bank, is done. Jamie Dimon is done. He's under investigation again. I'll get to that in a second. But right now we're looking at the moving averages because that's the game they want us to play. It is a ridiculous game. Remember, bankers don't care about money, believe it or not. The big bankers, it's not about money. It's about controlling the system. Money's easy to get. When there's no regulation on how much fraud you can perpetuate on humanity, it's easy. The Federal Reserve prints money. And you don't even need paper and ink anymore. It's an electronic keyboard. The difference between $100 billion and a $1 trillion bailout is one little zero on a computer. How many bits is 1 0? It's insane, I know. But that's the weakness of the United States of America right now. That's what our complacency has brought us. We should have never let these criminals escape the 2008 crash. We bailed them out for $800 billion. And then they leveraged it up to, the final count I think was $29 billion. And then 2000, and I was screaming after that. I say, that's it. That's the final bailout. Everybody's pissed. They bailed out the bankers and bailed out the government. Look at our debt. Look at our blah, blah, blah. I said, there'll never be another approved bailout by Congress. And it's true. There will never be another one. So the Fed knew that, and they didn't even ask for one. They gave a multi-trillion-dollar bailout to the banks in 2019 in the repo crisis. They never even told anybody. I was keeping track of it all the way up until it hit $1 trillion. I'm like, there's no limit. This is just what they report to us, too. There's no limit on the amount of electronic blips they can create. Thanks to Alan Greenspan, who invented the financial computer trading derivative system. Yes, Alan Greenspan, the same guy, sitting Goldbug in the 1960s. He was a computer programmer, blames himself for Y2K because he only programmed in 2 digits instead of 4. And now everything runs off computer programs. Everything. And that's how he controlled the price of everything back from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Him and his crowd at the Federal Reserve Bank and at the U.S. Treasury. It was easy. Computers are amazing things, but they're fake. The whole market is now fake. No stock trades the real shares that are outstanding. Apple stock, no. Look at the amount of trades. I think it's every 10 or 12 days. I haven't looked in a long time, that every single Apple share trades hands. That's ridiculous. 99% of the people in their 401k don't trade Apple stock. They just put it away, buy a little bit each month. What is trading? It's not shares of stock. They aren't settling these trades. It's all high-speed derivative trades. And that's what controls the price of everything. Silver's the key. You want to destroy the banking cabal and destroy the U.S. economic system and the Canadian economic system and the whole global economic system and China's economic system. Buy as much silver as possible and watch the bankers cringe at the sight of $1,000 silver, $10,000 silver. Because that's what's been suppressed for 170 years. These criminals have controlled our lives for that long. And it's about to end. So I am screaming. I'm going to be screaming when silver hits $1,000. Buy silver, buy silver. Right now I'm screaming at $23. Insane. Buy silver. Get your hands on one of the only assets that's going to survive the dismantling of the old system. Silver, gold, but there's massive amounts of gold, mind you. And cryptos. A lot of the good cryptos, even if the regulators stay intact, which I don't think they will. If the regulators are gone, cryptos are going to go absolutely berserk. And gold and silver obviously will go absolutely berserk. Because that means it's the end of the old power structure. Greenspan called it a creative destruction event. We have to destroy this old system in order to create something new. As a matter of fact, they planned it. They planned it that way. That was exactly why they screamed about regulating derivatives in the 1990s. There's a show. It's on Frontline on PBS for all the craziness that it is. PBS had a discussion and an expose on what happened. How did we get in this derivative mess? It's called The Warning. Go look it up. Frontline, The Warning. Robert Rubin, Alan Greenspan, Larry Summers colluded together to stop the regulation of derivatives in the 1990s. Now, Rubin and Larry Summers wanted it to control the world. Greenspan knew that if he blew that bubble up big enough, that derivative bubble up big enough, it would take out everything. Everything. All financial instruments, and you'd get your creative destruction event. That's where we are. That's why the bankers keep the Fed has to keep bailing out and printing money and bailing out and keeping interest rates low. It's the derivatives that these three guys, for their own purposes, stopped Congress, stopped the regulators from regulating. It's a really good documentary. Sheila Barrow was involved in that, who was at the CFTC and says, what are we thinking? We have to regulate these things. And they're like, no. To control the system in the 1990s, they had to implement massive derivatives with no regulation at all to control the system and ultimately destroy the system through greed. And that's where we are. And who are the most greedy? Just go to the OCC derivatives data. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. And those are just the American banks. If you go look at the Europeans, Deutsche Bank had a huge bailout. The Fed bailed out many foreign banks. In 2019, you didn't even know it. You didn't even get to vote on it. They just did it. That is the power of owning the printing press, owning the computer that decides who wins and who loses. Anyway, it's called The Warning. In the devastating aftermath of the economic meltdown, Frontline sifts the ashes for clues as to why it happened and examines critical moments when it might have gone much differently. Looking back into the 1990s, veteran Frontline producer-director Michael Kirk discovers early warnings of the crash, reveals an intense battle among high-ranking members of the Clinton administration, and uncovers a concerted effort not to regulate the emerging, highly complex and lucrative derivative markets, which would become the ticking time bomb of the American economy. Watch this. It is really interesting. Go check it out. All right. So yes, silver and gold. Gold's doing well. Gold will do well. Don't get me wrong. Gold will quadruple, maybe $50 an ounce, 50,000 an ounce, maybe 80,000 an ounce. But silver is going to have the same or better, which is starting from a derivative, a contrived ratio of 80-1. However well gold does, you times it by 80, and that's how well silver will do. It should be a no-brainer that you swap all your gold for silver. All of it. Not just some of it. All of it. Yes, gold has done better in the last 10 years. Let's look 15 years. Let's look at the 15-year charts for both. And you will see which is rigged more. Look at that. Silver is still, believe it or not, less than half of its all-time high from 1980 and 2011. Gold is almost triple. Which is more important to rig? Silver, obviously. Which is the hardest to rig? Silver. You got to put banks like Bank of America in deep peril just to fix what happened last year. That all it was doing was breaking $30. They couldn't have that. So they had Bank of America borrow 800 million ounces from the criminal JP Morgan. By the way, JP Morgan is under investigation. Let me show you where that is. Wall Street on Parade. Great site. Go there. Wall Street on Parade. Jamie Dimon lands in the crosshairs of Senate Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown. Yeah, it's all bullshit. I understand that. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to blame someone. The government doesn't want to blame themselves. They're going to blame the big banks. And the Democrats love blaming the big banks for everything because mostly it's their fault, the big banks' fault, but it's all for show. What have they done? Tell me how many banking CEOs have gone to jail. The closest thing was Bernie Madoff. But Bernie Madoff's counterpart is Vinny Viola was Bernie Madoff's counterpart back in the day when they both ran the NASDAQ and I think it was the NYMEX. Bernie Madoff was taken down by the good guys, part of the Mossad money churning thing. It wasn't $50 billion, it was $500 billion, and it wasn't a Ponzi scheme. It was high-frequency trading, market rigging, one of the banking cabal. His counterpart, Vincent Viola, got off scot-free and is doing the exact same thing. Virtu Financial is the name of the bank, or of the company. High-frequency, they're a authorized participant, for Christ's sake, of SLV and GLD. Why? What have they got to do with physical silver and physical gold? I never see Virtu Financial taking delivery of physical silver and physical gold because those are not, the COMEX is not a physical exchange. It's a derivative exchange, and of course that's their bailiwick. This is the company that went 8 years without a loss on any given day. It's amazing. So if you're looking for someone to blame, you're looking for the deep state, you're looking for the controllers and riggers, go to Virtu Financial. What a name. It used to be called EWT LLC, which stood for Elliott Wave Theory, which is a tech trader's dream. And they just worked those tech traders for so much money. It was insane. Anyway, go check that stuff out. Cryptos are getting a bid. Very exciting. See where we are right now. 43 Bitcoin. Everything runs off Bitcoin because all the exchanges just, you want to know where all the wealth comes from in cryptos? It's not new wealth coming in. It's crypto holders exchanging with each other. And as Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up because the biggest pair is Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin and XRP, Bitcoin and Cardano and Solana and Polkadot and Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and blah, blah, blah. You don't need money to make Bitcoin go to $100 million per Bitcoin. You don't need money. You need traders trading back and forth in cryptos. And then when people try to cash out, boom, you have a crash of 90% and then it starts up again. Everybody who was saying over the last couple of weeks that Bitcoin's dead, Bitcoin sucks, they didn't understand shit. They know nothing. How many times have we heard Bitcoin is dead? Cryptos are dead. You're an idiot for getting into cryptos. And those who stay with it, buy on the dips, are the ones who are going to run the future. And those who don't understand it, still, after all these years, are getting exactly what they deserve, left behind. Do your homework. All right. So check out Wall Street on Parade. You can go back. They did a lot on the repo blow up. Again, I quit after keeping track to $1 trillion. Who knows what it is now? We know they can't go to Congress because Congress will never approve it. But Congress is starting to get in there now, going after Jamie Dimon. Who knows what will happen from that? I don't know, clearly. Theta Fuel, and T-Drop are your number one picks for cryptos, in my opinion. But there'll be other ones that do very well. Bitcoin Cash, I like as a means of exchange. I like Litecoin as a means of exchange. People are starting to use the Bitcoin Lightning networks as an insurance if Reggie's ever able to uphold his patent. I own Veritasium as well. It's hard to buy Veritasium because if you go in there with $10,000 to buy Veritasium, you could jump the price 50%. If you sell $10,000 worth, you'll make it crash 50%. It's so illiquid. But that's the funny thing. The illiquid markets, why isn't it liquid? Why isn't Veritasium allowed to be traded on all these exchanges? Why isn't Theta Fuel, and T-Drop on Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken? Clearly, it's going to be one of the biggest cryptos in human history. They're doing everything right. But for some reason, the U.S. regulators, most likely, the people controlling behind the scenes, can't allow Theta Fuel or T-Drop to be traded on Coinbase because that would open up over 300 million buyers of crypto. The population of the United States would give them a chance to get some Theta. Wow. We do at Road to Ruta, we teach you how to get on the private road, teach you how to buy, store, and stake Theta Fuel. T-Drop's easy to stake. All you do is go to your wallet and go to the stake section and hit stake. And then put in the amount you want to stake. You don't need any secret codes or anything like that. The other ones are a little more complicated. If you want to buy Theta, go to roadtoruta.com, join the private road, and we have a whole Theta page. All right. That's where we are. Really exciting time. Canada is fighting for their freedom. The United States doesn't even know they are in jail. A lot of the mask mandates are going away, but not in California. Ask me why. I have no idea, even though all they want to test everything. Now they're testing sewer water for COVID. The amount of the population has sewer. The more they test, the higher the rates are going to be, and that's what they want, even though there's not much problem left. These are insane Democrats trying to turn the United States into a socialist country. If you want the bigger picture, that's exactly what's going on. Destroy the businesses. Destroy the feeling of freedom. And Canada is fighting back. Australia is fighting back, the two biggest commonwealths of the Queen of England. The United States will fight back when it's time. I don't know when it's time. Probably it will be when everybody loses their checking and savings and 401k, which is coming very fast. Anyway, you want to learn more, go to roadtoruta.com. Check out the Cliff High on the fate of silver and humanity. Really interesting discussion with Cliff High. There's more on the private road about that. And also the Roadshow. The Roadshow starts on March 5th in Sonoma, California. And then we go to Santa Barbara, LA, San Diego, Phoenix, and Albuquerque. We've got all the places on where we're going to be. Go check that out. Those flying in, there's hotels all around the area. We are taking RVs. Amy and I and Paige and Josh are in one. And, well, we got two between us, and then all the Roadshow gear. So come check us out. We'll talk about freedom. We'll talk about silver. We'll do some Q&A. We'll meet and greet and hang out with people who have a like sense of something is changing. And you want to be involved in it, like Jean-Claude out there in the middle of Ottawa fighting for freedom. Come to a Freedom Roadshow in the U.S. and you'll see what it's like. Freedom is spreading very fast, and we're going to do our best to try to spread that understanding that, number one, we are enslaved, and number two, we need to fight to be free. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com.
Hang on tight, my friends. Theta Girl's on her way. theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. I said go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Well, the 40X movie 2020 was fun. You ain't seen how high my little theta can run. Coinbase will add 300 million or more. America will love her while they watch her press her. She's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. I said go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. You're my theta girl, you really rock my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Well, my wife got really jealous, I love theta too much. She said, I know it sounds crazy, I'm missing your touch. You're gonna have to choose, it's either me or your coin. I'm sad to see her go, but look where theta is gone. She's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. I said go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. You're my theta girl, you really rock my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Well, I believe Sarasi $1,000 or more. Everybody watching theta partner galore. Samsung and Sony, Apple, Netflix and more. Google and then YouTube, well, you watch it press or. It's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Sit go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. You're my theta girl,